Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne. Yes, and I've still got this great big thing on my face. Apparently it is getting better according to my daughter, who is a dermal technician. A dermal clinician. She's a dermal clinician. So people, when beauties reopen, people would go to her with these types of skin stuff and she would advise them. So apparently we're getting better. So we're getting there. But I thought I would come on because I can't go live tonight. I just wanted to give you a roundup about ICAC. I wanted to talk to you about a Supreme Court challenge for COVID. I wanted to also tell you that Friendly Geordies has uploaded a new video. It's a good one, so make sure you go and look at that as well. So let's have a look what happened in ICAC today. So remember that former Premier Gladys Berejiklian, she's resigned. She resigned as Premier because there were questions about this, about what she knew. So the shooting club at the Central Berejiklian corruption probe was given low priority funding, low funding priority ICAC years. Now, I watched some of this today. So a corruption inquiry has heard a funding request for a shooting centre championed by Gladys Berejiklian's former secret boyfriend was given low priority 5 years before it received $5.5 million. The Independent Commission Against Corruption, ICAC, is investigating the former New South Wales Premier's conduct in relation to the two grants awarded for projects in the electorate of the disgraced MP's electorate. That's Darryl Maguire. One of them, to the Australian Clay Tiger Association of Wagga Wagga, was worth $5.5 million and was handed out in 2016-2017. Paul Dawn, a former executive director of the Office of Sport, today recalled Mr. Maguire campaigned for funds on behalf of the club as early as September 2012. At that time, the request was for $1.2 million to help build an international standard clay target facility in the regional centre. Mr. Dawn said it raised questions why the government would fund a new centre when it was struggling to maintain its existing Olympic venue in Greater Sydney. He said it seemed counterproductive to introduce a competitor into the process, given a World Cup bid would have already required an expensive upgrade to electronic targets in the Sydney venue. Ministerial briefing notes produced by the ICAC show the project was given low priority, which the witness agreed likely meant it wouldn't be funded at all. Why, as you recall it, would a low priority be given to the project? Counsel assisting the Commission Scott Robertson asked. It was potentially being built as a facility that would then compete with our existing facilities, Mr. Dawn replied. The notes showed bureaucrats advised the exact amount exceeded any amount available for sport and recreation grants. The Commission heard Mr. Maguire wrote to the Minister again in 2016 after there had been more work done on what was a skeleton proposal. By then, the proposal sought around $4.9 million, with the club committing $1.2 million and the project to include an expanded clubhouse and national administration block. ICAC is examining whether Ms. Berejiklian breached the public trust in connection to the grants in circumstances where there was a conflict between her public duties and her private life due to her undeclared relationship with Mr. Maguire. She was the state's treasurer between 2015 and 2017. When she resigned as Premier 2 weeks ago, she denied wrongdoing and said she performed her duties with the highest degree of integrity. The hearing continues. What do you think? So you've got the bureaucrats saying it's a low priority and probably would have been funded, but it got $5.5 million. I mean, that is just unbelievable, isn't it? So let's look at something else just briefly. There is a 4-year-old girl missing in Western Australia. She's just vanished. So this is a really sad story, and they are looking for her at the moment. Cleo Smith's mother has no idea what happened to 4-year-old missing from Carnarvon blowholes. That's a little girl. The mother of a 4-year-old girl missing in Western Australia's Gascoyne region says she woke on Saturday morning to find the zip of the tent open and her daughter gone. Ellie Smith says her daughter, Cleo Smith, had woken in the night at 1:30 a.m. asking for water, and that was the last time she saw her. The family had arrived at the Blowholes campsite in McLeod, about 70 kilometres north of Carnarvon, on Friday at about 6:30 p.m. just before dark. In an emotional interview, Miss Smith recalls how Cleo went to bed at about 8 p.m. after dinner before the rest of the family, including their own daughter Isla, also settled down for the night. She's a cutie. Look at her. She's a beautiful little thing, isn't she? I got her, so Cleo woke up at 1:30 and wanted a drink of water, Miss Smith said. I got her some water. She went to bed. I checked Isla, made sure Isla was okay. I got back in bed, and that was it, really. We went back to sleep, woke up to Isla wanting a bottle. As we passed the divider, I went into the other room, and the zipper was open. Cleo was gone, and that was it for about Saturday morning until everything started. The family said Cleo's sleeping bag was also missing when they woke at 6 a.m. She had been sleeping on a mattress in one room of the tent with Isla in the cot next to her. Alice Smith said her partner, Jake Glidden, were on a blow-up mattress in a room next to them. She was gone. The tent was completely open. It was about 30 centimetres from open, she said. I turned to Jake and said, Cleo's gone. We went looking, trekking, making sure she wasn't around the tent. Then we got in the car, started driving around everywhere. We grew up here. We literally grew up 100 metres from where we stayed at the same age. So we just looked everywhere that we went as kids and we couldn't find her. We realised we had to call the cops because she wasn't here. Miss Smith described what she was thinking at the time. Where is she? She needs breakfast. What is she doing? Everything's going through my head. Miss Smith described her daughter as beautiful and delicate. She has the biggest heart. She's just so funny. She loves rocks. She collects rocks. She loves makeup and dressing up every day. She wants to wear a princess dress. She's beautiful, so sweet, everything you'd want in a little girl to grow up. Miss Smith and Mr. Glidden want anyone with information or who saw anything to contact the police. If you see something, report it. It doesn't matter how big or small. If you're not sure or not, we want our little girl home. She said Cleo was not the sort of child to wander off on her own and did not even leave her side when they walked to the shops. She's lazy when it comes to walking. She won't ride her bike very far. All she wants to do is go in the bottom of our pram, she said. She would never leave us. She would never leave the tent. When she left, she was wearing a jumpsuit. She can't go to the toilet without my help unzipping it. She would come and get me, just like she did for the water. Miss Smith believes someone knew where Cleo was. Someone has to. It's been 4 days. They have to know, she said. We hold hope that she's here because if I think about her being taken, and it's pretty, a million other things have crossed our mind. We haven't slept. We've had so much family help us, support us, she said. Everyone asks us what we need, and all we need is our little girl home. Asked what she thought had happened to her daughter, Miss Smith said she did not know. No idea. There's probably a million things that I've thought of, and everyone else, and as everyone tells us, they are searching every angle that we probably have thought of. The worst part is we can't do anything more. It's out of our hands, so we feel helpless and out of control. Every time they receive a phone call, they hoped it would be news Cleo had been found. We sit and watch the sand dunes and we just think she's going to run down it and back into our arms, but we're still waiting. How I'm feeling is how I never want any mother to feel with her child. Miss Smith said she felt scared and terrified, although they'd received huge support from their family and the community. We've got people everywhere. We're going to find her. We have to, she said. Miss Smith works in Carnarvon at a beauty salon, and Mr. Glidden works for mining company Rio Tinto. Cleo, who attends St. Mary's Star of the Sea Catholic School in Carnarvon, was strong from the day she was born. I know she can get through whatever she's going through, Miss Smith said. She'll be terrified. She'd be scared. The search for Cleo resumed today after it was temporarily suspended due to extreme weather. So they had actually had to suspend the search because the weather was bad. Police officers continued to search in and around shacks in the area as they waited for the weather to improve. Shack owners were asked to come and help and drop their keys off to the police today so their properties could be accessed. Mounted section officers were due to arrive today and help in the search. Premier Mark McGowan said it was a devastating situation. Our thoughts are with Chloe's family, during which is undoubtedly an extremely difficult time for them and for everyone involved. To every officer and volunteer involved in the search, can I just say thank you for your efforts on behalf of the Smith family. To Cleo's family and on behalf of West Australians, we are thinking of you at this difficult time. To Cleo's family, my YouTube community, we're sending you all of our thoughts and prayers as well. So Carnarvon is up the top end of Western Australia, so they actually have to fly. It's not as if they can. It's a very long way. So when they're saying you've got mounted police going up, it's going to take time. Depending, flying's the easiest way to get there. So let me just show you a map. So Perth to Carnarvon. So Perth to Carnarvon is a 9 hour drive. So here's Google Maps. Okay, so it's 890 kilometers. So there you go, and it's a 2 hour flight. But yeah, it's a 9 hour drive. So it's not exactly. You got to remember, Perth is really, really remote. So it's at the top end there. So that's where Carnarvon is. So 9 hours and 34 minutes. So there you go. So that's if they were driving, and as I said, if they were flying, it's 2 hours. Non-stop 2 hours and 15 minutes on the plane. And look, it's $654. $654 to go 2 hours on a plane. It's like, wow, that's expensive. So they've got reinforcements coming from Perth at the moment, so which is good news. But I wanted just to highlight that. So please keep Chloe's family in your thoughts and prayers. And I know that this is an amazing community, and we will definitely do that. So finally, I want to talk about one more thing. So today there was a Supreme Court challenge in Melbourne, and the Supreme Court dismisses challenges by unions and MP in the wake of the ALP branch stacking scandal. So Australia's most powerful union have failed to convince the Supreme Court that their members were disenfranchised when Labor's national executive suspended voting for Victorian pre-selections as the party grappled with allegations of branch stacking. The Supreme Court this afternoon dismissed two challenges to a federal party intervention of the Victorian state branch of the Australian Labor Party. The National Executive intervened at the request of Daniel Andrews last year amid a branch stacking scandal, which is now the subject of an anti-corruption hearing. Justice Tim Ganane today struck down two legal challenges against the ALP's National Executive Committee, finding that it did have the power to rubber stamp pre-selections in 21 safe seats and the newly created seat of Hawke. Our Hawke is actually out my way. He also rejected a claim by former Victorian Cabinet Minister Marlene Carrouts that the same committee did not have the power to investigate her on charges of branch stacking. The decision means that party administrators who are appointed in the wake of the stunning allegations of industrial-level branch stacking can legally refer Ms. Carrouts to before an internal tribunal where her party membership is now at risk. Ms. Carrouts, who represents the state seat of Koroit, has always strenuously denied the charges. The move also vindicates the National Executive's decision to go ahead with pre-selections despite the pending lawsuits after injunction was lifted earlier this year. Justice Ganane today dismissed both lawsuits, telling the court that both Ms. Carrouts and the union leaders had failed to establish their claims. He also said the court was not able to wade into some of the claims because they were internal disputes within the political party, and even if he had, they would not have succeeded. The proceeding must therefore be dismissed. In May last year, reporting by 60 Minutes, The Age uncovered industrial stage branch stacking, allegedly overseen by Adam Semirak. So this is what ICAC is investigating at the moment. Mr. Semirak was kicked out of the party, and Premier Daniel Andrews was also called in the Labor Party's national executive to take over the Victorian branch. So this is what the court was about, because they've got the national executive overseeing the Victorians, and yeah. And this actually will sort of vindicate Andrews a little bit as well, because the court has actually supported his decision. As part of the intervention, the voting rights of rank-and-file branch members were suspended until 2023, preventing the membership from voting in pre-selections for state and federal elections. Instead, pre-selections were to be determined by the National Executive. A group of 10 unions who normally have a major say in pre-selections began fighting the disenfranchisement. Now, one of the allegations about Andrews is that he's mates of the union, but he's actually upset the union. But anyway, the group argued that the unions who contribute financially to the party should continue to have their say in ALP matters because the branch stacking allegations did not involve them. This came to a head when former State Secretary Sam Ray was going to be installed in the new seat of Hawke in Melbourne's growing northwest. A split between different elements of the right faction sparked a fight over the seat, with a push to install a woman and for local members to have their say. This was backed by the unions who challenged the process in court. After injunction was lifted in June, the pre-selection was carried out and Mr. Ray was pre-selected for the safe seat. The first legal challenge was triggered after Ms. Kurtz, who referred to the parties' disputes tribunal for disciplinary actions over allegations of branch stacking. She had challenged whether it was within the party rules to have someone referred to the tribunal. The referral came from administrators Steve Brax and Jenny Macklin after an audit of the party in which thousands of members were kicked out due to irregularities and questions over their legitimacy. Now, Steve Brax is a former premier too. Heidelberg Mayor Rick Garotti, subject of an examination at ICAC this week, was also referred, but he quit the party rather than face the tribunal. So there you go. So it's very interesting. It says it is an issue that is causing major headaches for the Labor Party this week, but has been identified as a problem across both the major parties. So it's an issue that is occurring across both of the major parties, but we're only hearing about ICAC and the Labor Party because of the ICAC investigation. So that is very, very interesting. So anyway, I wanted to leave you all with that. So I want to thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you ring my bell. Ring my bell. So you don't miss out when there's a new video uploaded. I will catch you live tomorrow night. Thank you. Me and my I don't know what it is. We will bid you farewell. The thing is, usually whenever I'm outside, I've got a mask. No one sees it. So maybe I need to start wearing a mask on camera, hey? But thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye for now.